Hello everyone, and welcome to Parsha with Passion. This week's Parsha is Parsha's Lech Lecha. And here I am, this time in my backyard. Someone just said to me, "You're always traveling around. I see your videos, you're in the boondocks somewhere." And I told her, no. I'm at home in my kitchen. Then I come out sometimes to the backyard and make a video, sometimes to the side of the house and make a video, sometimes in the front, wherever the light is. Not a whole bunch of light today, but I'm actually right here and not traveling around, sharing the Parsha with you. And this week is Parsha's Lech Lecha, where Hashem tells Abraham, go to the land that I will show you. And this Parsha is particularly emotional for me, and I feel like for many other people as well, because this is the beginning of our people. It all starts with Abraham, and this is the first time that Hashem spoke to Abraham. And these words, Lech Lecha, are the instructions for our entire life. So, Lech Lecha, go, Lecha, to yourself. Lech Lecha, go for yourself. Lech Lecha, go to yourself. Go back to your neshama. Go back to who you are. Hashem tells Abraham, I want you to go where I will show you. And it's not because I'm the big one in charge. It's for you. Rashi says, for your benefit, for your good. This is why I'm changing the pieces. I'm asking you to leave it all behind. I'm changing your circumstance. You're losing the job. Your children are moving away. You have to move somewhere. You're experiencing illness. You have new circumstances in your life. The world is changing. There's a new president. Lech Lecha. It's all for you. El ha'aretz asher areka, to the land that I will show you. This means that inside of every one of us, there's the capacity to see the land, to see the new place where we're going to be living through the lens of God, through the lens of Hashem. If you're willing, I will show you what's there. El ha'aretz asher areka, I will show it to you. Ha'aretz, the word in aretz is ratzon. Aretz means land, ratzon is will. These words are intertwined. Change your ratzon. Be willing to make your will into my will. If you can only see that my will and your will are really one, it's lecha, it's for you, then you will see all the blessings that will come. I was learning Parsha with my daughter. She's 11, and she had been listening to Torah anytime when she went to sleep at night, which was just wonderful. And just in case you're wondering why your 11-year-olds are not listening to Torah anytime, it actually is what happens when they don't get burnt out from school. They start to love learning again. So she's homeschooled, so I always have these questions about her gaps in her education, like real gaps that anyone who is homeschooled knows, the anxiety that comes with being your child's sole educator, and there are real things that I need to be teaching her on one hand, and then on the other hand, she has a wide open space for learning because she wants to learn, because it's not being stuffed in her face. So there she is on Torah Anytime, listening to Rabbi Wallerstein, who is so compelling and such a great speaker. And she comes down the next day when we're learning Parsha, and she comes down with his question. Now, I'm sure he had an answer, but the way he fires up those questions, the question just stuck with her. She said, I don't understand. We have to ask the question, what's the big deal that Abraham followed Hashem when he said, Lech Lecha? Hashem promised him that I will make your name great, and you'll have many children, and the world will be blessed through you. So what's the big deal that Abraham listened? And we know that it's a very big deal. It's one of his 10 tests, and it's the first test that we hear about. But the question is pretty funny, the way that she phrased it. What's the big deal? Of course there's going to be blessings on the other side. Hashem says, even in this Parsha, here is your test, and here is the blessings that will come as the result of your test. But oh, if only it was that simple. Because when you're in the test, honey, it's still a test. I just read a story a friend sent me, and you may have seen this story. I don't have the names with me, but a really incredible story. It goes like this, that there was a young couple, and this is one of these stories that's not just a chicken soup for your soul story. This is, a friend who knows a friend. This is actual people, husband and wife. They were not able to have children, and they were davening, and they were praying, and they were crying, they were begging, and the years were passing, and nothing was happening. And according to all medicine, they were not able to have children. And they spoke to, I think it was Rabbi Bachner, and they poured out their heart to him, and he said, we have to do something. And so there was one more medical procedure that they could do. It costed $250,000 to do this medical procedure, and Rabbi Bachner did not let anything stand in his way. He spoke to Bonei Olam, which is an organization that helps families experiencing infertility, and he told them, we have to help this couple, and they're an amazing organization, and they stepped up to the plate, and they connected with the doctor. I wish I could give the doctor the credit. I don't have his name in front of me. And they told him, we want to go ahead, we want to support this couple in doing their procedure. Well, when the doctor heard of this kindness, he said, you know what? I'm not taking money for it. We're going to do this for this couple. And so in their last chance, they were supported by Bonei Olam, they were supported by this doctor. They did this procedure. Time passed, a little bit of time. The husband and wife got the results. They were separate when they got the results. They saw the results of the tests from the procedure, and they were all negative. All hope was lost. There was nothing left for them to do. No children. And so the husband went home to his wife, and when he got home, the table was set, beautifully set, with a delicious dinner. And he was completely confused, and there was his wife smiling. And he said, what's happening here? What is it? What? And she said, now we know. Now we know where Hashem wants us. Before we were in the land of the unknown. But now Hashem is showing up. This is the chapter that I want from you. Not the chapter of trying for children, the chapter of not having children. And now we begin our lives from here. And that's a celebration, because we know what Hashem wants. She brought him so much peace. Together they had she said, I want to make a Sudas Hoda'ah, a Suda of gratitude, a feast of gratitude to thank Hashem for our life. And I want to make sure that this next chapter in our life is not filled with bitterness, is not filled with anger, because we have each other. And let's not forget that. Let's not forget that Hashem himself said, it's enough that you have each other. It was only a short while later that they got a phone call, an urgent phone call from the lab. Wait, there's something else that we could do, something else we didn't realize. Come back. And this man, he got in touch with Rabbi Bachner, and he said, I want to tell you, we had a child, we get a mazel tov. This is 9 months later. We had a little baby boy. You know, that story would have been enough if it ended at the Suda. They already accomplished everything they were sent here for, just because they made that Suda, that Suda of acceptance. The Suda means a feast, a meal, a beautiful meal of acceptance. Not acceptance, gratitude. This is where you want me, Hashem. I'm now going to the Aretz that I will show you. I'm going to my Ratzon. I'm going to make my Ratzon into your Ratzon. This thing that I didn't want, well, you want it. You want it, so I'm going to want it, because I trust you. When Hashem speaks directly to you, like he spoke to Avram, he's saying, you could trust me. I'm speaking right to you. I'm the one who's sending you to that next place. Come with me. I'll take you there. But at the end, just like Avraham, it was more than the test. Avram Avinu was also infertile. He also wasn't able to have children. Against all odds, and yet Hashem promised him, you will have children, I will make your name great. There was a blessing in this, but the blessing was not the point. The point was, come with me to the land that I will show you. And this is life, and this is the capacity that we have. This is the capacity of the Jewish people, to go from place to place, to go through a history, to go through persecution, to go through a daily life that is difficult, because we know that this is the land that God is showing us. And whatever this is where we need to be for our benefit. I was on the phone the other day with a mini coaching session with a friend who has been working her head off for an organization. It's a beautiful organization that helps kids transition from public schools into getting a Jewish education. So they go to Jewish private schools, and this needs a lot of funding. These kids need a lot of support. And she's been working for this organization, raising money, knocking her head against the wall for 2 years, changing kids' lives, and guess what? There's no more money. She's getting no. And she's getting tired. And there's tremendous other things that she can and is doing. And she's thinking to herself, how can I let this go? This organization is so important, and I've worked for it, and I've built it up, and these kids are counting on me, and I know more kids who need place. And yet, on the other hand, her husband is sick, and she's spending tons of time taking care of him, and her days are filled with doctor's appointments. He should have a tremendous refuah shalema, amen. And she's being pulled in another direction, and it's always hard to move. We're not always leaving a bad place. I remember when I moved from Israel, we started our married life in Israel. When it came time to move to America, I was devastated. You're not always leaving a bad place. So often you're leaving a place that is good, that you were doing good in. And yet, it's this week's Parsha. It's Lech Lecha. It's go. It's time to go. All of life is about going, keeping on moving. The words that our sages use are, you cannot be an omed. You can't be one who stands still. Life is about movement. And I said to my friend, whose permission are you waiting for? It's time to move. And you know what was funny? She was the one who sent me the story that I just told you about the young couple. So we had a good laugh about that, because it's so easy to talk about. But when it's your life and you've got to move into a new state of parenthood. You've got to become a different type of wife than your husband needed before. You've got to take care of your parents in a way that you never did before. You've got to deal with a financial challenge that you never did before. Boy, then it's a lot harder to get that clarity. But you know what? Reb Leibele, I don't know which Reb Leibele that is, quoted by a Karlbach source, Reb Leibele says conceptually that there was no concept of Eretz Yisrael until Avraham was there to appreciate it. Meaning Hashem said, come to the land that I will show you. Avram Avinu, Abraham, you are so dear to me, you are so close to me that I want to show you this place that is my favorite. There was no place for Hashem to share his favorite land with, no person, until Avram Avinu, who was so close with Hashem. And isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we really, really want? Is just to be in that sweetness of, what do you want, Hashem? What do you really want? And then Hashem says, I want to show you what's so precious and important to me. I want you to be so close to me. Wait till you see what's sweet to me. Believe it or not, what's sweet to Hashem is not comfort. Could you believe that? Because that's so sweet to us. You know, when you think of a vacation, you think of a beach, you think of a spa, you think of a nice hotel, you think of a vacation, you think of comfort. What's sweet to Hashem is not comfort. What's sweet to Hashem is when we are Lech Lecha, when we are pulling ourselves out of this superficial level of reality to burst through to the real reality, to the land that I will show you, to the land that's close to Him. And guess what? That's what's really sweet to us too. That's what we really love as well. That's what's enduring. And when we can get to that place, there is nothing like it. You know, recently I experienced a shift, and I myself cannot understand this shift. I don't claim any credit for it. And I only ask Hashem, please, that you should continue to give me the emunah that I need to sit in this place of peace. But I'm a person that loves to organize events. And it's not that I'm a super duper event planner. I love the inspiration. I need the inspiration. I want to give people that high. I want to live in the high. So I make events. That's just what I do. And in my home and some different chapters in my community, I want people to experience a connection with Hashem in a very joyful, important way. So anyway, here I am making events, and one of my upcoming events is my retreat. We're getting closer, 2 weeks, thank God. And I find out, like a few weeks ago, that one of my favorite staff members can't come. And one of my other favorite staff members is sick, doesn't know if she'll be better by then. She's really not well, and God willing, she's getting better, but maybe she can't come. And I'm telling you, my old reaction would have been a bit of drama. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Stuff like that. And also fear and stress, a lot of stress. How's it going to work? First of all, I'm emotionally counting on these people. It matters to me that my people are there. These are the people who get the vision, who I trust to support my women. Secondly, what's going to be with the event? I'm trying to orchestrate a certain type of event. Well, what is this event going to be like if the right people aren't there to staff it? It would be a mini freak attack. You wouldn't see it on my face, but inside of me, I would be making more phone calls, getting a little nervous, talking it over. But some kind of shift happened to me, and I realized if I can't realize this in my own life, which all of our life is a holy event. This is the event that we're planning every single day, but at least I can realize it in my events. This is not about me. This is Hashem's event. These are Hashem's children. They're not really my women at all. This is Hashem's children, and they're going to get what they need to get, so I can just relax. So when my friend told me, I don't think I can make it, and I was like, okay, fine, go do with your family, I was so chilled about it that she almost got insulted. Like, do I not matter to you as a staff member? Could we get clear on this? Do you think that I contribute to the organization? Because I was so in acceptance that this is what Hashem wants. Okay. That she almost felt like, wait, you're supposed to miss me. I do miss her. But at some point you start to learn this is where Hashem is taking you, whether it's your event, whether it's some kind of crazy bill that you weren't expecting. This is where Hashem is taking you. And it's not to say that there's not fear, because to be human is to be fearful. To be human is to be Lech Lecha. Do you know where you're going when you're going? You're traveling on the journey of the distance that is between you and Olam Hazeh and the world of truth. You're always having to travel in that distance, that place of what I see and what really is. Do you understand what I mean? I just got such an awesome visual. I wish that I could give it to you. Oh my gosh, it's like so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. This is, oh man, I can't give this over. To be human is to always be traveling back to the road of truth. You wake up every morning, you have bad breath. You're in this world. You say, Moda'ani, I'm grateful to be alive. You take your kids to school, there's carpool, there's the morning stress, and then in that same moment, there's the idea that what is a mother's portion in Torah is sending her children off to school, is supporting her children's education, giving them the sweetness of Torah. That's gorgeous. And you have to travel that road between this morning stress is too much for me, and between this is the most beautiful thing in the universe, to send your child off to learn. How lucky are we? How blessed are we? What a mission. And you travel that road, and you need to travel that road. I remember mornings. Mornings right now are a lot easier now that my kids are a little bit older, but when they were 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, oh my gosh. And some of them who had sensory issues, 6 kids in a minivan with sensory issues, one with ADD who's all over the place, and one with sensory issues who can't stand the noise. I'm telling you. And me, who's pretty sensitive, that as soon as they would get tense in the back seat, I would get tense. You know how that is. You don't have to be sensitive for that. You just have to be a mother. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And yet I think back to those days and I'm like, this is the sweetest thing in the world, taking a package of children to school. We're Lech Lecha. We travel that distance between what looks like reality and what really is reality, and all the time we're moving ourselves to the land that I will show you. Look at it through my lens. See what I see. This week is it's a very special week for our family, and that's because Lech Lecha is the 2 weeks prior to when my husband, God forbid, he should live and be well, my brother, Alav Shalom, passed away. And on Parshas Lech Lecha, it was 2 weeks before he passed away, and around a month or two before that, he had been not himself. He had been not himself, and I may have spoken about this in a different video, but that a tzaddik knows when their neshama is going to leave the world, and actually the neshama leaves in stages during the last period of someone's life. And my brother, I don't know what it was, but there was a knowingness within him, and he was not the same. Maybe it looked like depression, it looked like a flatness, it looked like he was in 1 foot out of this world. And my sister-in-law, she should be well, and thank God she is doing well. She's happily married, and she should be blessed. But I remember her expressing to me that she missed him in that last month or two. She was actively missing him, even though he was there. There was something about him that was not present. And then on Parshas Lech Lecha, they had a Friday night dinner, and he still... she said he still wasn't quite there, but they sang together, and the children went to bed, and they were singing, and it was a closeness. It was a very special closeness. And after the meal, they sat down to learn, and they learned Nesivas Shalom. And in Nesivas Shalom, you can look this up yourself. I remember her telling this to me, and then when I open up the Nesivas Shalom and I see it with my own eyes, which I've done a few times, I feel like I'm back on learning it when she learned it with my brother, because here's the words exactly like she told me. And it's not fresh in my mind. I haven't learned it recently. But in Lech Lecha, he talks about how all of life is a series of tests. Like we said, it's all about going to the next level, to the next place, to the next place. And then there is the big test. And the big test is that which will define you. It is that which brings you to an entirely another level. It's like in Pac-Man. I don't know if you're my age, and you must love Pac-Man too. So you have your level, and you're trying to eat up all the little dots on that level. And then you have the next level, and that's an entirely different playing field. That is a test that defines you. That's the big test. And Avram Avinu, his life was a series of tests. He was born into idolatry. He was born having to find Hashem. He was thrown into jail. He was thrown into a fire. But then came the super big test, the defining test. And she learned that with my brother, and then only 2 weeks later he passed away, and that was her defining test. And that changed her whole life. That lifted her up into pain like she never knew before, into power and into greatness like she never knew before. She was an entirely different person after that. And so we're here in this week's Parsha, and we can tap into the power that comes from the tests that we are given. And this week's Parsha, it is the Shabbos Project Parsha. All around the world today, I don't know the date in my head, is it the 11th? Is the Shabbos Project, which means that there is a movement that all around the world, the goal is for 1 million Jews to keep Shabbos, 1 million Jews to land in the beauty of Shabbos, to embrace it, to welcome it. On Wednesday night, I attended a challah bake where we had over 3,000 women, nearly 4,000 women baking challah together in a convention center in honor of Shabbos. Epic, epic, epic all around the world. And I was thinking, what is Shabbos? Shabbos is Shavas, resting. As Rebbetzin Yemim Mizrahi says, it's Shabbos. Shah, my daughter. Be quiet, my daughter. It's going to be okay. You know where shh comes from? A mother naturally, all over the world, a mother says shh to their baby because that's the sound of the blood that's pumping. That's what the baby hears. And then we hear this. A little baby hears sha, sha. He remembers the comfort of the womb. It's okay. It's okay. You're taken care of. We come into Shabbos and we remember it's okay. It's all okay. And you know, as I'm saying this, it's like I don't even know. I don't have any one thing that I'm thinking about. I just feel like laughing and I feel like crying because on one hand, the roster of pains is just, it's never ending. If people's pains were on a receipt, this receipt would just be like keeping on coming out of the register more and more and more. It's like a long, long list that just keeps on traveling, the amount of pains. And I think even the little stuff, the big stuff, the stuff that we struggle with, I can't even, the list, I don't even know how Hashem contains all this exile. I don't know. How do you contain it, Hashem? How do you contain people's stuff? Everyone, I don't know. I don't know. And on the other hand, I have a bubbling of laughter within me because yes, it's all Lech Lecha. This is the era. This is the time. Hashem wants us to be close to Him. He's pushing us. He's sending us on tests. And one by one, we're finding emunah. We're finding that to sit in His arms is the sweetness. It's a short life. It's not going to last forever. 120 years is the max. What we get from here is the sweetness of being close to Him. And there's some kind of laughter in here that we think it's the hardest thing in the world, and yet it's all for us. It's just some kind of, I don't know, it's funny. It's like, if you're sensitive to it, you can almost feel the punchline within the joke. Do you know what I'm saying? Think if you can feel that. You're sensitive to it. If you've been working on yourself in your life, working to get close to Hashem, working to make time to speak to Him, to be aware of His messages to you, but not just to you, to everyone, then there's some kind of joke in here. I'll tell you, I met a girl in the supermarket yesterday, and I think I'm going to be winding up my talk here. I met a girl in the supermarket, and this is a young woman. Is she 30 yet? She's 20-something, and she has a nice Jewish education background, but didn't grow up observant at all, and she's deeply connected to her Jewish culture. Her family does Friday night dinner, and yet there's a whole world that she hasn't been exposed to. And she, in my eyes, is a very accomplished person. She's got a fire in her. She works with the Jewish Federation. She cares deeply about Israel. She's brought a lot of students to Israel, maybe not for Torah learning, but certainly for the Israel experience. And she's a go-getter, and she's responsible. I really have a lot of respect for this girl. And a while ago, I was speaking to her, and the things that were on her mind were about production and producing and getting this job and working for this organization and all the things that are so important when you're in your 20s and you're trying to get ahead in your career and self-identify and everything. And I saw her in the supermarket, and this was really strange because I was not in the mood to go shopping last night, but I pushed myself to go out. And she lives downtown, but her mother wasn't feeling well, and she has a herniated disc. She should have a refuah shalema, and so she did her mother a favor, and she came from downtown to the kosher supermarket here, and she was going shopping, and we met over the chicken freezer, and That's it. That's what Hashem organized, that we had to meet. And I told her at the end, I was like, I make these Parsha videos you might enjoy. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe, but if you want. So maybe she's even listening to this, or maybe not. And I said, so she asked me what's going on with you, and I told her all these things. And I said, what's going on with you? And she said, I'm starting a Tehillim group. And this was not what I expected from her. Last time I spoke to her, she had been talking about her career. And I see this sparkle in her eyes. She's starting a group of girls who are going to get together to say Psalms. And she says, yeah, I heard that it's really powerful, and I'm not married yet, and my friends aren't married yet, and I think that this is something that we can really do, and I want to understand more what's going on with these words. I don't connect when I go to synagogue, but these are personal words, and I connect to them, and I wanna understand them. I wanna make a difference, and I feel like I want to do something important here, so that our prayers could be answered, that some kind of movement could happen, and just to get people together. And we did it once, and it's such an honest place, and we check in with each other, and it's a real place. And I think she did it once or twice, I'm not sure. And it's once a month. And I'm looking at this girl, and I'm seeing the truth. I am seeing the truth, because when you're 20-something and you're out in the secular world and you're almost 30, your heart might be breaking because you haven't found your soulmate. But what do you put out there? What you put out there is your business suit, your accomplishments, your resume, your confidence, or your pseudo-confidence. And you just march, and, you're just doing it. And you don't really let on that what you'd really love is to be married and loved and settled. You don't go there, because that's just not what the world is going to let you do. That's not what's valued. You're not allowed to want that as a woman, even though it's the most natural thing in the world. But here was this girl, and she tapped into the truth of her soul that wants connection, and the truth of her pain, and being real with it, being real with what she wants. And I saw something in her that was so beautiful and so real, and I felt like the way that she shared with me, I'm making this Tehillim group, was so much more wholesome. There was so much more wholeness in her than the big here's what I'm producing. There's something that we want that we don't even address all the time. We think it's about production. I think it's about production. I think it's about success. I think it's about everyone. It's about comfort. It's about the kids doing well. It's about the finances doing well. It's about everything lining up. And then until it's lined up, we're in dis-ease. We're not content. But what we really want is not comfort. What we really want is to sit and say Tehillim and share an honest moment of connection with another human being. And in that connecting to Hashem, this is what we really want. And I saw this. I don't know if you're in the world of Jewish outreach, what happens is you're trying to create moments of connection for people by making Shabbatons, by making these big inspiring events. But there I witnessed real connection, and I saw that within this girl, this piece is more real to her than everything else that she's producing. And I took a huge inspiration from this. And so let's wrap it up now. It's Parshas Lech Lecha. It's our opportunity to deepen our emunah, to laugh and to cry with it, and to say, Hashem, I will go where you will take me. I will look back and see how everywhere that you brought me is for my benefit. I will look at the world the way you look at it. I will look at my life the way that you look at it. I will stop fighting. I will be willing to go on the next step of the journey. I'll be willing to see that all of life is traversing the distance between what I want and what you want, and seeing that it really is all one and the same. And it's about the Shabbos project, and about landing in Shabbos and being in celebrating what is Shabbos. Shabbos is the moment where we stop fighting with the world. What does it mean to be in the world in a weekday sense? It means to create, to take the world and to manipulate it, to make it into what we want it to be, to take fire and make it into cooking, make it into food, and that's okay for the weekday, to always be changing, manipulating, working. On Shabbos, it's Shabbos, Shah. Let it be. It's exactly how Hashem wants it to be. It's resting in the perfection of what is. There's no place to go. There's nothing to do. There's no one to call. There's only sitting in the divine. And this week, 1 million people are doing that all together. So I wish you a beautiful Parshas Lech Lecha, a beautiful Shabbos project, a beautiful laughing and crying. I want to let you know that our retreat is full up, but I'm a crazy person and I'll do the paperwork again. If anyone wants to come in the next day or two when we can still fit you in a room, then come for a Shabbos experience over there. And I bless us all that we should see the redemption soon, because you know what Mashiach is, you know what redemption is. Redemption is when that distance that we're talking about is closed. We close the distance between our history and everything that has happened in the world up to now, leading up to this crazy, strange campaign and all the unrest that's surrounding it, and all the impossibilities and weirdness that are around this campaign, and really around the whole of history, where we take all of that and we take the whole reason for existence and we see how it's all one. We see, because we are going to see redemption. We are going to see the reasons, and then, like it says, all our tears will turn to laughter. So a beautiful Shabbos to all of you. I hope that you have many, many moments of laughter this Shabbos, and take care. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for listening and for subscribing, and I appreciate you.